All right, guys, this practice starts seated on your heels, so it's called Vadrasana. All right, so you can see here, my big toes touch, my knees are basically together, they can be slightly widened, and I'm sitting right on those ankles. Feet are flat, and toes aren't tucked, okay? You can roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Just a brief 30-second meditative breathwork session here. Lift the crown of your head straight up. Sit with integrity, please. Close your eyes. Big inhale in your nose. Big exhale. Big inhale in your nose. Really connect, awaken the breath. Big exhale. Remember, guys, everything's at your own pace. Today we're doing that Hatha Asana. You're more than welcome to add more advanced. I always welcome more advanced variations, that type of energy in class. I also want you to feel comfortable about, doing a lot easier variations. I'll try to mention both sides when I can, but your practice, listen to your body, all right? If you'd like to join, start practice. One Om, big inhale, please. Second pose, downward facing dog. Hands plant, toes tuck, hips up and back. You take a few breaths to move around just to kind of make your way into the posture, and then you work the breath work in the pose. Eventually, we press our hands down, thumb, index finger. Reach those sit bones up and back, straightening those arms, trying to relax the head low. You can bend your knees, right? But just notice we are shifting our weight toward the heels more. We're not forward in plank just yet, all right? Some mornings you need to move a little extra just to kind of feel out your position. But some good mornings you're a little bit more disciplined, meditative approach. So some movements, some mornings more movement, some mornings less movement. More breath work, the subtle, more kind of advanced approach there. Still refining posture. So as you're getting more into it, you're pressing the thumb and the index finger down, maybe so much that your pinky can almost lift a little bit. And you do the same thing in your toes. You kind of see if you can press your big toe down more where almost the pinky toe might start to lift. Now, not extreme, but just kind of a general energetic rule there, more weight inward midline. All right, you're straightening your arms, rolling the upper outer tricep kind of down and under and in. Right? Shoulders relax tiny bit. Head relaxes more, so head hangs low. Lengthening through your side bodies. The inner thighs kind of roll back and out. So it's a medial rotation in the hips, a lateral rotation in the shoulders. So that's a different rotational quality. All right. Now, take your time. Our next third asana is the plank. So make your way slowly to plank. Gentle plank is on your knees. If your wrists are bothering you, you're on your forearms. And now work on spreading your back. Again, you can move a little bit, initially to get in. Some of us, you want to add push-ups, that's fine. It's kind of like the beginning of class. So you can add some of those extra warm-ups. Push-ups are a type of plank, right? If you're feeling really good, you could hover a foot. So that I gave you easier on your knees. I gave you a little modifier on your forearms. I gave you a strong one-legged or even a push-up. So there's some different qualities of a plank that you're working on this morning. Okay, last few breaths, maybe you hover your second foot. So if you're just joining a little after we started, Hatha Asana practice today, kind of a little bit more focus on postures, being in yoga poses, working in that kind of difficulty, the struggle. Refining kind of more subtle things. Just notice, yogis, I don't let my chest dip low. My upper back kind of spreads. And I engage my thighs and my butt. So I work on using my legs more. Use those muscles you don't use as much. All right, big inhale, guys. Nice job in your downward dog and plank. Walk your hands to the back of your mat. Forward fold. Okay, big inhale. Take a nice half lift just to get that nice spinal length. Big exhale is the forward bend. Okay, 3 to 4 more breaths. Here's a moment after those 2 long holds. If you're just joining, we did down dog, we did plank hold, and we did an om and some breathing in the beginning. And now we're just in a little bit of a quick break. Give it a good stretch. Remember, I suggest bending the knees, especially if you have back pain. We don't want the spine to hyper around here, kind of, if you have that acute back pain like stenosis or bulging, herniations, we want to provide a little bit more security in the back. So if your back hurts, I suggest bent knees, more active, long spine in the stretch. You still get a good stretch here, right? If you're feeling good, there is some benefit to be had though in a more straight leg rounded approach as well. Different stretch, right? Now I'm going to keep going. This is our 5th yoga pose of Hatha Asana class today. Bending knees, widen feet, boom, right into the chair. So take a moment here if you need, kind of up and down, might feel good. As we enter the asanas today, the first part, in the beginning, especially first 10, 15 minutes, these warm-up poses, a little extra movement's okay. But let's not fidget, right? Let's really distinguish the difference between, intentional movement with purpose versus just kind of, I can't sit still. Big thing in yoga is let's discipline the fidgeting body. All right, close your eyes now. Reach your arms high. Your knees should be kind of right over your toes, let's say, knees about hips width distance, feet about hips width distance. If you lean weight too far forward, lean a little bit weight backward, right? If it's the opposite, you lean weight too much in your heels, that's too much too. Lean a little bit more forward. Okay, same thing. If your knees are too far forward, pull them back, or vice versa. If your back is too arched, pull your ribs in a little bit. If you're too rounded, arch your back a tiny bit more. Try to straighten those arms and bend those knees. All right, now go slow. Hatha Asana practice is posture to posture. You add the neutralizing in between. Let's slowly stand up. Give the butt a little squeeze. Left knee lifts. If you'd like, left foot on the inner right shin or thigh. I'm demonstrating. Notice it's not on the knee. Arms go back up. If you'd like a little bit more with the arms, watch me now. Palms face each other. Palms face forward. I cross my wrist. So right arm in front of left wrist. Palms turn out toward each other. So you're a tree pose, but your branches, they're kind of winding up. And then look at this. I press my palms together and I reach those arms up. I press my heel into my inner thigh. I find nice equal weight distribution in the standing foot. I lift my core. Now, as the yogis say, can you make it a meditation, right? That's kind of yoga in a nutshell, right? Oh, you're doing dishes? Can you make it a meditation? Oh, you're cleaning the toilet? Can you make it a meditation? What does that mean? Being very calm and present with it, being mindful, and as the yogis say that once you can have joy and do it your best, you're cleaning a toilet, once you can clean your toilet like with joy and do your absolute best, you might be enlightened. So we're in this tree pose with the winding branches, but we're going to switch sides. Maybe you keep your arms up, okay? Slowly, left foot down. Inhale, arms high. Right foot on inner left shin. Maybe I take that right ankle with the right hand, pull it up a little higher, kind of closing that knee joint a little bit more. Some of us up here with the arms high. Some of us, I notice you're doing it. Left wrist in front, palms turn toward each other. See that? And then I reach up, try to press those palms together, lift up out of the core of the body. A few more breaths. Breath work is just such a practical way to make you're more present, right? It just brings you right into that now, connects you internally to the subtle self, subtle sensations. Yep, so working yoga poses today, guys. Not much flow today, all right? We've been doing a lot of flow in the power yoga class. Usually the vinyasa is the power practice in this kind of modern era. but we're coming back to postures. It's called Hatha Asana, all right? Not vinyasa. All right, here we go. Big inhale. And exhale, slowly release. Arms stay up if you can. I know it's difficult. Now we bind the hands tight. Squeeze the palms. Add movements when you need. You release your index finger. It's called Kali Mudra. You see my hands? My palms are going to seal together. I'm going to reach those arms up. Now I'm going to step my feet together. Squeeze my butt. Engage your thighs. Reach up, please. It's a little side bend. Now notice I'm leaning my weight into my heels, but pressing the pad of my big toe down, so pronation. Press your palms. Reach up, yogis. All right, let's breathe. Don't go too deep. You know, it's an early morning practice. Depends on how you're feeling. There's days to go deep, right? But make sure the wisdom of the practice, you know, be kind to your body. It'll be clear when your body wants to go for it. I could stretch much deeper than this, but I'm feeling pretty tight. It's our first really big side bend. We did a lot of front and back body warm up. Now we're ready for side and twists, all right? Back up, inhale, index fingers, opposite pinky grip. So switch your hands, so opposite pinky. I know it's really difficult to hold your arms up this whole time. Index finger release, reach up, 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 up. Press the pad of your big toe down, potentiation of the big toe, side bend. Yogis, what I love about this Hatha Asana practice is what they call the Dinorphin Response. You guys have heard of the endorphins, right? Where your body releases these chemicals, they hit your opiate receptors and you feel good. It can help with all types of things in the mind and body. But the Dinorphin Response is really cool. It's where you get uncomfortable and you want to leave. You're all comfortable, you know, it's kind of chaotic in the mind and body. A healthy form of stress is a different opposite, let's call it, chemical reaction. And what that actually does is makes those opiate receptors more sensitive to endorphins. And that can do a lot of really amazing things like reduce pain in the body all over, systemic. It can also help with reducing inflammation. It's been really proven to help with mental things like anxiety and depression potentially. Really good stuff, guys, to work in those uncomfortable kind of internal places. Big inhale, back to center. Exhale, arms down by side. Nice job. Left foot to the back of your mat. Next, asana, yoga pose. A little bit different in the arms, hands behind the back, okay? Roll the shoulders back. Remember, this is from the postural correction series, this bind, where I'm actively creating reciprocal inhibition by engaging my muscles to roll my shoulders back and down more, okay? So I'm bending my front knee, and to start, straighten the back knee more. So my back heel does kind of go back in space. My front knee bends. I do want to lift my chest, but pull my ribs in a little bit. Couple more breaths. I mentioned not over-rounding in the forward bend, touching your toes. Let's not over-arch the back, especially if you have back pain. So whenever we do have like acute back pain, try to notice, are you kind of jamming into hyper ranges, especially via weight or tension? And in a sense, you provide activation that's going to pull you out of that weight-bearing dumping in the spine. All right? Good rule of thumb to remember in yoga, guys. All right? Let's keep going. You're here. Inhale, step forward. If you'd like, arms up. Right foot back. Opposite pinky grip, the Sushumna. Roll the shoulders back. Bend the front knee, straighten the back knee. Couple more breaths. Try to feel this length happening through the kind of right hip flexor, this psoas line. It's really our first big back bend, okay? Roll the shoulders back and down. Pull the ribs in a tiny bit if you're bendy especially. Lift the core up, press the feet down. Close your eyes if you can. Now work on the breath, slow inhale. This idea of the directional breathing. Bring the breath into where it's tight or the muscles need a little bit more energy. Remember the muscles are constantly, the cells, every cell, right, is using oxygen to kind of, let's say, burn your food, right, to produce energy. Let's try to get more oxygen into those cells, into that blood. Big breath in the nose. We're always nose breathing in here, right? Unless we're exhaling intentionally out the mouth or doing a specific breathing practice in the mouth. Try to exhale deeper than normal too, not just inhale deeper, but exhale deeper. Get that old stare air out. Let's get that air out of the bottom of the lungs. We're not done yet, yogis. Let's keep going. Right foot forward. If you'd like, inhale, arms up. This is called Urdhva Hasta. All right? Hands behind the head now. As you can see, the arms are going in a lot of different positions this morning. So remember which pinky's on top, because we're always switching. Left foot goes to the back of my mat. So a little bit different now, yogis. I bend my front knee, and now I bend my back knee. So it's this double bent knee lunge. I roll my shoulders back and down. Now it's subtle. I twist to the right. So if my right knee is bent forward, I twist to the right. Close your eyes. Let's breathe. Try to twist from your core. You're going to notice it's not like a hyper twist where we're using our body parts to twist very deep. It's more of an active twist where I'm really only able to twist as far as I'm strong. Okay, so it is a lunge now with what's called the pec minor reciprocal inhibition. By activating this angled arm, you can hopefully release some of this deep chest protracting muscle. It works with our Sushumna. Go slow, chest forward, inhale up. You can reach your arms up. Opposite pinky on the top. So we're here. Just notice, watch my shoulders, guys. I'm not here. See that? Shoulders back and down. Right foot back. Remember, it's back knee bends, hovers, and inches. It's kind of this really low bending lunge. Now I open my elbows and I twist left. Big breaths. Remember, really seasoned practitioners, big breath is first, but we don't want the breath to encourage too much like sympathetic response. Sympathetic nervous system isn't like the enemy, but we don't want to get into the pattern where we're always really like exhausting our body in the way we approach our breath. Working the heart over, I'm a big fan of cardio work, like interval training mainly. Spike the heart rate, calm it. Let's not get into the unconscious pattern of not skillfully breathing. So really skillful breathing is our real main goal, okay? Go slow, guys. You're here. Neutralize your chest, step forward. Arms down by side, shake it out a little bit. Last standing posture for now. Left foot goes back. Seal your back heel, warrior two. Some of you came in about 10, 15 minutes. You kind of missed our warm-up postures. Now we're in the more rotational and lateral and complex qualities of yoga positions. We're working on yoga poses today. A little less movements. Still work your movements, but just less focus as a group in class. Bend the knee, squeeze the pelvic floor, squeeze your feet together. I mentioned this word potentiation. Press the big toe down, pound the out your feet down. Think of potentiation as, say your whole body's working in some challenge. A potentiation is adding a subtle, let's say, engagement in this sense. That's going to make the whole thing work more efficiently. It's a little piece you add to make the whole greater, okay? That's a big thing in yoga alignment. Potentiation is like a little bit more like that biomechanical terminology there, okay? Now go slow. Left foot steps forward. You can reach your arms up, Urdhva Hasta. Right foot steps back. Open, warrior two. 30, 45 seconds. A middle level hold. Sometimes you're going to hold for a couple of minutes. Consider the long hold. Some days you're vinyasa, in and out, there's no hold. We're in the middle today. Close your eyes, gaze forward. A meditation, please. So those of us who are pretty strong, try to lighten up a little bit. Be a little bit softer. Don't waste energy. We work on activating first, and then we kind of, where am I wasting energy, overstraining? This idea of like being in a rigid yoga pose.
Activations first. Let's turn our body on. Your muscles are designed to be strong. If they're not strong, by definition, they're losing function, right? Activate first, yogis. All right. And then we can stretch more.
And if you're really good at like activating, like I said, you got to relax more. But on the opposite side, some of us aren't good at activating. And that's the whole quest. Just really turn that body on, yogis. All right. Now I want you to go slow. You're in warrior 2, a skillful pivot, step forward. Next position, squeeze your butt. So it's basically yoga squat, all right? Sitting low. We already did plank and dog. We're gonna go back and weight bearing on the arms, and then we're gonna hit our first kind of big cobra hold. You're always welcome to add crow, headstand, handstands, as much as you want. A little bit less of that today, all right? Lift the chest, maybe push the elbows into the knees back into the elbows. Press the big toe down. On Wednesday, some of you were in my animal flow class where we did all these complex body movements. Such a different style today, right? But in that primal flow I did on Wednesday, the yoga squat was a big role because it's a primal position in the human body. You go to the bathroom there, right? Big inhale, hands plant, hips go back, high plank. Second time in high plank, we're gonna add on side plank. Asana, Vashista, heels left, right arm out and up. If it's too much, you drop your knee, or if it's your wrist, you're on your forearm. If you need a modifier, let me show you guys. This is beginner side plank. I am on my shins, my knee, and my forearm. This is really how side plank starts. This really isn't so much a side plank as it is like a half moon. You don't get much weight bearing here. What's called anti-lateral flexion. And what I mean by that is here your body is trying to side bend, but you're not allowing it to. It's important to recognize the difference. We did a lateral flexion range here in tension. Now we're in a anti-lateral flexion, and that can happen in every single range of motion. All right, it's good to distinguish the difference. High plank, please. Go slow, second side, side plank. You know the deal here. You gotta work on gripping your fingers. Notice if you're kind of like this, looking from the side. If you're kind of like this, you see people all the time. Good posture, so in a sense, it's Tadasana. Remember how we've talked about all postures relate to Tadasana. Good musculoskeletal fascial posture. Unless we're intentionally hyper-rounding or hyper-arching, we do that a lot.
Nice. Yes, advanced versions are always welcome too. I didn't mention them, but binds, lifting the top leg, closing your eyes. You know, I like to do fingertips here on a good day. We've done countless versions here. So I want you to be creative. It shows me that other side of your brain, you know, the disciplined scientific brain, the analytical, it's only like a hat party there. We want that creative, artistic, you know, fun approach. Don't hold back, yogis. Let loose, let your passion, heart, and soul flow through the practice. If you want to do, you know, advanced postures the whole time, beautiful, okay? It's not, you're not showing off because you want to go strong. All right, guys, back to our plank pose. Now down to the knees, next pose. You know, we can hold low plank here if you want a little extra challenge, whether it's on the knees or here, you can hold your low plank. So in a sense, we're not doing vinyasas today. We're breaking down all the parts in holds. Eventually, meet on the chest, point your toes. This is called gentle cobra, next yoga position. Elbows back and in, shoulders back and down, navel in, engage your thighs, lengthening my neck. Sphinx is a nice middle ground here. Be a little bit more range. Make sure I'm creating that length through my core.
lifting my chest through and up. Hands could plant, Cobra, Bhujangasana. My favorite ground-based stretch approach, but I still want to activate my back. I still want to try to, my erectors, lifting my chest with some back. So my arms are being used, but not as the main catalyst for lifting. It's still more my back. Deep breathing, yogis. Deep breathing. The quality of your breath determines the quality of your asana, not how deep you can bend. Right? We're not looking to become contortionists or gymnasts. It's more using positions to bring energy to certain body parts, to open areas that are kind of closed, let's say, and to challenge our mind and our emotions, to work on being more meditative, calm, centered, present, mindful in chaotic conditions. Big inhale, guys. Nice job. Child pose quickly if you'd like. Press it back. Now, a lot of times in the Hatha Asana, they'll pick something like 10, 15 poses, and you'll do multiple rounds. We're doing a nice variety today. All right? We're back onto the arms, so it's second, in a sense, down dog hold, but it's dolphin. So we're going to meet up here in the table. We're going to come down to our forearms. Tough pose, yogis. And here's where forearm bounce would come into play. If you'd rather do handstand or headstand, those are all on the table right now. Inversion, head below the heart, all right? Top toes, hips up and back. Pull the chest through the arms. Relax the back of the neck, engage your thighs. So I'm not here, guys. I'm not in plank. I'm here, hips up and back, okay? If it's easy, left foot to the center, right leg high, like a one-legged position. If you have a wall, and you like to add things like jumping up on the wall, beautiful. If you don't have a wall, but you still want to add some hops, that's okay. You're working on getting into another pose. It's called Pinchamayurasana, or the peacock pose. You got a few more breaths here, guys. If you're doing a one leg, maybe take a little breather. You drop down, you catch your breath. It's a very intense position. And then you do your second side. The reason, yogis, I like to do a lot of variety is for the brain, right? There's a lot of evidence. There's a famous book I read years ago called Spark. Oh gosh, so much evidence about how, it was a lot about kids, about how kids who would exercise before tests, got such higher grades. And then, adults who did a lot of these really mentally challenging doctors who did surgery. They reported, if they go for they skip caffeine in the book and they do a 30-minute jog, they were was so much more, mentally focused, and I wasn't as tired after. The exercise was doing so many amazing things for our neurochemical system, the brain and the hormones. I like the complexity, right, of the movements. If we get too kind of ritual repetitive, we're not, challenging the nervous system as much. So that's why I like to say, get up into that forearm stand. Do it. Last 3 breaths here, guys. Got it. Take a quick seat. Sorry, guys, my little munchkin, she's learning to go to the bathroom outside, so I had to let her out, all right? So let's sit. Remember first position, the Vajra. Take a moment. It's called the grounding posture, literally. So you just take a moment. You did your inversions. You did your first really big symmetrical back bend. There's this idea in yoga, get better at coming out of stress. For example, the other day I was walking Miss Leia here, and she started to pull out of her harness right next to a busy street. I'm like, man, I had this strong stress response. What did I do? I closed my eyes, did some belly slow breathing. Remember, the belly breath is the vagus nerve. So as we inhale and exhale into the abdomen and the lower back, that vagus nerve, the cranial nerve, is right connected to parasympathetic. It's going to help you
really calm the mind and body quickly. All right? Let's keep going, yogis. Through down dog and tabletop, let's stand up. Back to standing. Standing positions. So we did some standing earlier. Some chair, some lunge, some tree. Now we up the bar. All right? If you have it, reverse prayer. Fists behind you. Or opposite forearms. If you have it, hands up, palms turned toward each other. Press your thumb, index finger together. Hover your left foot, warrior third. Warrior C, or 3. Try to flex your foot for now. Drop that hip down. A good general rule of thumb, yogis, as that leg lifts up, it wants to kind of lift the hip up too. Drop the hip down. Watch for what we call like compensations, tension pose. Because you're tight there and you want to compensate to make it a little easier, that hip, whatever leg is up, in our case it's the left right now, that left hip has to dip down. So in a sense, you're fighting against unconscious movement patterns and activations. Last few breaths. Remember, in gentle yoga, guys, you're here. Doesn't have to be far. You do bend your knee. If your spine rounds, I want you to try to lengthen more. Pull that abdomen in more. Reverse prayer is a really nice option. Don't forget standing split and handstand hop there. Always a substitute. Just like, I would say, if I say hold plank, if you're feeling excellent, you hold handstand. Okay? Now go slow, please. Back to standing. Maybe you can keep reverse prayer. Roll the shoulders back and down. Eventually, second side. Standing knee might bend. Chest stays kind of in unison with the back leg. Breathe, yogis. That's pretty, Jamie. Nice, everyone. Looking good. Remember, this is one of our fundamental exercises, is the hamstring, the back line tension. In the gentle yoga, I showed a variation on the one leg. But on any day or if it's more in warm-up, it's just the hip hinge on the double leg. In fitness, they call it like, Romanian deadlift. It's a fundamental exercise position to practice bending over and also stay bent over, right? Go slow, back up, yogis. Stand up, shake it out. Eagle posture. Arms up, right arm under left. Intertwine your forearms, palms together maybe. Sit low, chair, second round, but now adding. Shift your weight to your right foot slowly, get light in your left foot, lift it up. Some of us just stay here, right? No big deal. Some of us cross left thigh over right. Sneak the top of the foot behind the calf. So if you know your yoga well, I'm doing reverse eagle, right? Right, the knees over to the right. You see that? Pull it back to the center. Sit low, press your palms together, pull apart your elbows. Breath work. Subtle body refinements. Are you overarching the back? Pull it in. Remember, guys, that a lot of efficiency and balance, it all starts with just awareness of how you distribute weight in the foot. Remember our foot workshop from weeks ago on a Sunday? We went over really half-hour detailed awareness about the 3 arches of the foot, how the toes, the pad, the arches, the heel, even the foot itself, separate from those parts. There's all these kind of distinguishable parts of the foot. It's a very complex place in the body that usually is not developed enough on the average person because of our lifestyle, shoes, and the toes don't get to activate enough. So try to notice patterns in how you orient the foot. We did the arch building exercises. We did, a lot of the calf raises and the shin raises and the pronation, supination distinguishing. So if you missed that, I do have it up on my YouTube channel, going in details about how you can really optimize, your feet. And that's going to change the game and balance and standing in general. Here we go. Inhale, arms up and knee up. We're going to bring that left foot down. Remember this Urdhva Hasta? It's our neutralizer today. Left arm under right. Intertwine your forearms.
Press through your palms, pull apart your elbows, sit low, chair. Okay? And then shift your weight to your left foot. Your right foot's gonna start to get light. So take your time there, yogis. Right thigh over left, please.
Ah, the beautiful sounds of LA. Nice, you're working your ego pose. It's called Garudasana. It opens all the major joints, yogis. It's really, at the same time, you're getting a lot of, strength and stabilization, coordination. You're also getting such big release through your shoulders, your elbows, your knees, your hips, your sacrum, your scapula are spreading. And those aren't considered major joints usually, your scapula or your sacral, but pretty much considering those, right?
Really fantastic yoga pose, really kind of unique. As a lot of the postures can be kind of, substituted for each other, this one kind of really stands alone. When you're ready, inhale, arms and knee up. Exhale, hands, arms down. Take a moment, Tadasana. Hands start on the hips. This is where you might need blocks. In traditional Hatha Asana, they don't really have blocks, but it is good to add if you have them. Hands on the hips. Left foot hovers. Bend the right knee, hinge. So warrior three. We're not going to hold warrior three. We're going to take it to revolve moon. All right? So we're not doing revolve triangle. That could be a little bit softer, more closed chain form of the revolve. Hands go on blocks. Lengthen your core from your spine. Twist to the right. Maybe reach your right arm out and up. Revolve moon. In a lot of yoga classes, this can be considered a peak position. You are bent over, you're very asymmetrical. All right? Your standing knee does start very bent. Eventually, it does work straight. It's an active locking of the knee. I did say lock. Your knee is designed to lock. All right? So usually considered by some realms of yoga to be a little bit more advanced. Try to relax. Spread your arms, straighten your legs, maybe even point your back toe now. So everything was kind of like crossed and squeezed in the ego. Now everything is spread out and you're more bending over. All right, so it is a little bit of a contrast there, a counter position. Nice, some of you are adding some more advanced variations. Don't be shy now. Now, can you skillfully make your way out? Don't make you hold that one too long. Right hand down, strong core, standing. Hands can start on hips. Right foot hovers, bend the knee, hinge. Some of us just hold warrior three again, right? You don't need to add the revolved. But if you're feeling good, eventually hands can come to blocks. Remember that bringing your hands to blocks can allow your legs to get a little bit more lazy and your core, so watch out for that. From your core, with your spine, you twist your chest and abdomen to the left. Now, a little tricky. The twist is going to want you to, some of you are doing half moon open hip. I'm just skipping that because we did side plank, before we had a side body tension without a rotational. And now we're kind of doing a rotational without a lateral. So, either way is fine. Your chest is twisting to the left. If your left foot is on the floor, you twist to the left, okay? You're straightening your arms more, straightening your legs more, lengthening your spine and core more, breathing more skillfully. And now, then your relaxed kind of places you're over tensing, maybe your traps, maybe your face, is your breath restricted. Last 3 breaths. Go slow, top hand down, bend standing knee, slowly, skillfully rise, Tadasana. I wish we had a little bit more time, but we got to keep moving. It's a shorter class today, all right? Second round, yogi squat. If you want to do your crow pose, it's here. Anytime really, yogi squat, crow is an option. Same with like straddle forward fold, which we didn't do, headstand, standing split, handstand. Those are all kind of similar, okay? And this is our last front body posture. It is the hollow body. So we're gonna slowly, I'm not gonna do high bow. I don't wanna, your hip flexors have the potential to be much stronger than your rectus abdominis. Where you learn that in biology, your psoas and your hip flexors together can really outperform your abs. But a lot of us have trouble that the psoas always wants to take over. So I like to bring it down to your lower back. It kind of softens the psoas a little in this position. And from here, I would lift the chest more. So that's gonna hit my abs more in case my hip flexors are really tight. Now, if I'm feeling really good, I could go legs more forward, toes as high as the eyes. But remember, yogis, as my legs go forward, it creates more weight, like a lever, they call it. That's gonna wanna pull your lower back arch off the floor. Don't let it. That's a tension pull. It's like where length starts to pull through the body, creating unnecessary undecided movement. So the whole goal is to press your lower back down, maybe lift your shoulders up a little bit more, all right? If it's easy, you reach your arms beyond your ears. Now there's an advanced version where you work posterior tilt and you even feel like your pelvis is starting to hover barely. It's like a subtle reverse crunch. There's a lot of mixed opinions about hollow body, but it was clear in the biology that the double hollow body was basically the #1 way to strengthen rectus abdominis. It's like a static crunch in a sense, right? Lower back down, shoulder blades hover. The more legs go forward, the more weight there is, and the more tension through the abs, more hip flexors too. But the EMG charts are pretty clear, yogis, that the reverse crunch, the pelvic lift, and the lower back down with the shoulder lift, that's the double, right? So it's pretty much the fastest way in calisthenic form, without weights, without contraptions, to really stimulate the abs, rectus abdominis. All right, that's the big six-pack muscle. All right, big inhale. Final challenge asana is either the bridge or she just dropped her bone on my mouth. All right, so it's called bridge or wheel, guys. This is our last really strong extension. Not too many back bends today, right? If you have it, you can do a block between your thighs. I'm always a big fan of using bands. Not a traditional yoga thing, but a little band around your thighs. Arms down, press lower back down, and we lift those hips. All right, so I'm gonna, let you be in your posture here. If you're feeling really good, you could do wheel upward table. So, come up to your hands, or even reverse plank is a nice option. Another nice little option here could be pressing your right foot down, maybe walking it to the left, a little one-legged. Remember the idea, guys, of the pelvic tilt here. So bridge is from the main rehab practices, particularly in the lower back. It's a place where you see a lot of people arch their back, actually. So your hip flexors are engaged as you're trying to do hip thrust. So hip thrust, I've shown you guys my hip thrust machine here. It's one of our foundational backline exercises, particularly for the glute max. If the glute max gets weak, it makes your hamstrings tighten, your glute medius tighten, your psoas tighten, your lower back tighten. So by strengthening glute max, it can really just make the body work more efficiently. So the goal is subtle. You don't want your lower back to arch. You want your pubic bone to come forward and up. It's very subtle and difficult to see. So people do bridge their whole life and they're kind of, I don't like to use the word wrong, but they're doing it in a way where they're not aware that they're staying in anterior tilt. So they're like that subtly in bridge. You want the hips to go forward and up. Pubic bone is like the highest point in the body. All right, lower down slowly. One last round, then I'm going to give you a stretch or two to close out practice. So one last strong back bend. So if you want that quick demo, I know that's sometimes, tough to understand the anatomy and so people do bridge like this. You see how my back is like arched? Yogis, you're only doing a little piece here. The key is the posterior tilt and extension. You see the difference? Not here, but here. Not here, but here. So there's a lot of other things pressing the big toe down, pulling the heels toward your shoulders, lengthening the waist a little bit more. And if you have a block, squeezing the block, not letting knees buckle in or out. In my opinion, the main two cues are big toe press down, posterior tilt. Hamstring knee flexion, it's good, compound activation, but posterior tilt, you know I'm a hip extension and pelvic tilt kind of freak, but for good reason. It's one of the best things I ever really embodied about my biomechanical body, all right? Like say you have back pain and you're getting bridge pose therapeutics. If you just stay in anterior tilt and hip flexion, your psoas is always going to be tight and pull down on the spine and create compression in the back lumbar. It's really, that subtle adjustment takes something that might be even bad and is making it 1,000 times better. So I hope that was kind of clear, the idea of really being aware of your pelvic tilt, pretty much all the exercises. All right, guys, let's slowly meet on our back. Happy baby is next. If you feel good, it's a little straddle happy baby. What I love about this form of happy baby, it's kind of like this, but instead of rounding your spine like this, your spine gets the opportunity to stay nice and straight on the floor. So it starts by grabbing hammies, calves, ankles, big toe, maybe foot. I work on bringing my sacrum, my head down, and I work on straightening my legs wide. So it's straddle forward fold with a nice long straight spine. Last couple breaths. Figure four, right ankle atop left knee. If you want to do Gobra or another outer hip stretch, that's fine. No yoga on the back today, so we're just finished class here, okay? I'm flexing my foot, actively pressing my right foot into my left knee, letting my right knee open a little bit more. So just a reminder, today was Hatha Asana, and tomorrow will be next week, will be more of that Vinyasa yoga, okay? Ooh. You guys still there? Uh-oh. You guys hear me? Cool. They said I was signed out. I think we got a couple more minutes here. So I'd like you to do your last hip stretch here, guys. So remember, this is my one class of the week where I'm with the Bay Club here on their account, and there is a class, I believe, at 9. So I would like you to, I was going to give you till about 8:50 here, and I was going to suggest maybe today, we don't do this very often, but you do your Shavasana on your own. That's when you're really getting it, the self-imposed like discipline form. Oh, you don't ever do Shavasana? It's impersonal, but you're the one who needs it. Like seriously, you don't do Shavasana, you're not getting the repetitive, intentional method of getting better at calming your mind and body. It is key, right? Parasympathetic. So I'd like you to basically take your last stretch here. You might need another twist. You might want to take an inversion. It's a short practice, It seems like it's 45 minutes, and ideally it'd be an hour or even a little longer. So please take your time, finish up a stretch or two, and I'd like you to kind of take if you have it, a 5, even 10-minute Shavasana practice, kind of a relaxing meditation. It's fantastic. Class has been very active. So we want to end on that more kind of calm, alkaline, anti-inflammatory neural state. So yogis, I'm going to leave you here.
I appreciate you guys showing up. I'm here every Saturday morning. Next week is more of the vinyasa flow style. All right. Namaste, yogis. Thank you guys. Good work today. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everyone. I see you guys. I got you on my big screen.
Thank you. It was great.
Thanks, Robert.
I liked it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeannie. Nice to see you. Carol, Carolyn, Linda.
Thank you, Robert.
Like this style.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah.
It's a nice change of pace.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll hang it. I'll say goodbye and do my Shavasana.
Guys.
Okay, Rob.
All right.